3, 2, 1 solar panels. Welcome, friends, to Starry Hilder's Off-Grid. Yeah, off-grid homestead. And when we talk off-grid, we talk about solar panels. But we had a huge snow. Look at this. We are buried alive with snow. It is winter off the grid, and our solar panels are buried off the grid. So here's a good question. When you live off the grid and your solar panels get buried like this with snow, should we be concerned? So this morning, I'm posing the question to Mr. Hilder because Mr. Hilder seems to have his whole solar... Well, you do. You've got the whole solar thing down pat, don't you? I mean, you've got it almost a fine-tuned science right now.
Well, I like to think so. I'm not, I could be wrong. Every application is different, though. That's the part where people get in all this tizzy about... oh, that don't work, or this don't work, or whatever the case is.
But what works here?
For our application, I've got no problems. I've only run the generator a few times this winter.
Which is amazing.
Granted, I took, we always unplug the refrigerator, and when it gets down to in the teens and 0 type temperatures, I unplug the freezer also.
Yeah, I got a small
those
freezer
things aren't drawing, and that's your two things that use the most. But with these panels there, I got these set at the winter angle, and it's pretty there's no angle on them. I mean, they're almost straight up and down. There's just a little bit of a tilt to them. So yeah, there's snow clinging to them now. People always posing the question like, well, how are you going to clean those? How are you going to clean the snow off the top ones there? I'm not worried about it. There ain't no sun out, so I don't care if there's snow on them. As soon as that sun comes out, 15-20 minutes, that black underneath there heats up so quick, the snow just falls right off.
Yep.
I mean, it's not even a problem. There can be ice and whatever on them. I don't worry about it. But that's not to say, I don't know how you have your other people. I don't know what angles you have your panels at and all that kind of stuff. So I don't worry about it. I've never dusted these things off once, and when that sun comes out, I've got powers coming in. Days like today, I don't care if snow's on them because I'm not going to get anything anyhow. I mean, a few watts is a pretty big deal. I don't worry about it.
And also, we don't worry about the snow being on the snow panels because when I said that Mr. Hilder's got the solar down, the battery bank, you've got we use things in the battery bank kind of fine-tuned. And don't you think that is a big deal when you live off the grid?
Everyone thinks, oh, you got to live like a savage caveman, no electricity, you're going to be using candles all the time. I got lights on every night. Starry gets up to go to, the day she has to work, she uses the hairdryer in the morning. Can you believe that? The hairdryer. It is a little bit irritating to me, but I mean, the trick is this thing is not running for 5 or 10 minutes.
Right.
It's a couple minute burst, big whip. It doesn't do anything. It's when people got all this stuff on during the day, all these things that normal America, this seems to be as normal.
Yeah, microwaves, coffee makers.
Yes, all that. We don't have a microwave, no coffee makers. And I drink coffee by the gallons. Yeah. Believe me. No inconvenience whatsoever. I want to heat something up and put it in a pan. And the other key thing, we got a computer. We got she uses her computer and I got my computer. It's not an issue.
Right.
Granted, if I'm going to have a work day where I got to use motors and, electric engines and that type of thing, like horsepower, 3/4, I'm running machines, I got to start the generator.
Right.
This is just common sense stuff. But for general, everyday, whatever, and during the day, you shouldn't be sitting inside all day.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. So there's no electricity being used right now.
That's true. We're outside all day.
That's just my take on it, and I live very comfortable.
Right.
We live extremely comfortable. This is not a problem.
But also, you've got the solar batteries so fine-tuned. Don't you think there's a lot to do with the care and maintenance of your solar batteries?
I watch them pretty, it takes a little bit to see what you got coming in as far as watts and that type of thing, and how much your batteries are being charged and how much you're using. And I check the specific gravity. And after a little while, like a year or whatever, you get in tune with this stuff and you sort of know what's going on with them. So I just briefly glance at my little meter thing I have and I see where they're at. And it just not a problem. I mean, maintenance, I put water in these things about once every 3 or 4 months. That's the most important thing. You got to keep the water in those things. You don't want those cells being exposed. And then don't have the big, don't let them get run way down. You know, on your hydrometer, it's got a little thing on there, and it keeps me in the ball game. So if they're getting run way down that I've seen, I'll start the generator and get them, you know, fully charged.
Right.
Run that generator until they go to float.
Right.
And I've played with my settings a little bit for what works for my application. This is not rocket science. Just do a little reading, and it's not that difficult. It's really not that difficult.
It isn't. And I think the big thing Mr. Hilder made a point that it's really the electricity use. We off-grid, you're not going to be taking that home and bringing it to the off-grid lifestyle. So you do have to change the way that you think.
Right, and that's the biggest thing. People, they get so, well, you can't take the average family and have them live off-grid like that. This is true because the average family uses so much electricity, it's insane.
Yeah.
So that analogy comparison doesn't fly.
Right.
I mean, you got to look at what are you using electricity for and being useful with it.
Yes.
That's your main, that's how you got to view it.
Yes.
And so everybody's going to be a little bit different. And if you want to have a coffee maker and you want to have all these things, like I think Starry had said, we have some off-grid friends and they've got zillions of panels.
Big array.
They use the wash machines and that.
They got all the conveniences.
And they have much bigger generators with 1,000-gallon tanks of propane. They have a much larger investment, is what I'm trying to say, so they can live what they deem as more comfortable.
Yep.
And that's great for them. I'm not saying nothing bad about it. But for me, I don't need those comforts because that's all that is luxury. It's not a necessity. It's a pure luxury. And so it has nothing to do with living like a caveman or a savage or anything like that.
We just have a small application. We don't have kids.
Right.
It's just me and Mr. Hilder. So there's a lot of things that we don't need, and we like
What
it that
do
way.
kids need electricity for?
I don't know.
You're all building snowmen today.
I know. I don't know.
No, seriously.
I know. You're right. You're right.
It's just like this whole thing. Everyone blows it out of proportion because they're like, "Oh God, we're just going to suffer," and there's no suffering involved.
Yeah, I know.
It's very extremely easy.
We all, as average Americans, we need to rethink how we use electricity. Period. I mean, just period. And
you know, when I was just like everyone else when I had my shop, you know, because I had a workshop and I used electricity a lot. I had like 3 freezers. Granted, that was for business, but I used tools. I left my stereo on. I never shut it off.
Yeah, it's true.
I just leave lights on because for the little bit, I'm like, I wasn't conservative like that. I was still conservative, but it's like out in the shop. I'm like, well, I'm going to be out here. I'm not worried about shutting lights off. You got to change that way of thinking a little bit. But you get these. They got all these lights that you can use now that you hardly use anything. I mean, we have 3 lights running all night, plenty of light. And what they use about 2 watts.
Yeah, very little.
Piece.
They're
that's 6
LED
watts. We're
light.
for, 4 hours or so. It's
Technology has come a long way with
nothing.
stuff like that.
So everyone says, "Oh, you got to have all these million batteries." Granted, if you have less batteries, you gotta for your application, you just got to figure it out. It's not that hard. It's not hard at all.
It isn't that hard. Yeah.
And you got to remember, the more batteries you have, everybody says, "Well, get more batteries," but then it takes more to charge those batteries. You got to have more panels.
More panels, yeah.
You're better to have it lopsided and have more panels. Than batteries.
Yep. That's good advice.
Because you want to make sure to have enough juice. Like on cloudy days, you want to be oversized. Like in the winter, if we had 8 more panels, another 1,000 watts of panels here, that would be the bomb.
Yeah.
But then you got to weigh out. Okay, what's it going to cost? Another $1,000. Yeah. You got to think, for that little bit of gain, do I want to spend another 1,000?
Yeah, you just got to think about it.
You know, it's.
And what are you gaining?
What are you gaining on a cloudy day? You're going to get a little bit more.
How much
does it cost for me to run a half a gallon of diesel in my generator?
Yeah,
not very much.
Yeah. And those are all things.
And that's it.
Good advice. Good advice.
I don't know, but I got to get shoveling.
Yeah, he's got to get going, but he's always got good advice, and I like to pick his brain on the solar stuff because people, when they see our videos, especially in the wintertime, they always ask about, Starry, what are you going to do with the snow on the panels? Does it make a difference if you live off-grid? How could you got to get that snow off there? Well, Mr. Hiller just answered that question. Yeah, he had some other good insight there. So just off-grid reality here. No frills.